And we're back with some more Dyson Sphere Program. And starting today, we're at 13,500 white science per minute. I mean, okay, rookie numbers, we gotta pump them. That's fine. We can do that. This here, though, is a little bit of a refinement. We realized in the last episode we were going to run a little bit short on proliferate. We need about 100,000 proliferate or 130. Like, we're going to need a lot of proliferate. And our current design, which is this one over here, was a little bit inefficient. Reason being is, well, we had to make the nanotubes the old-fashioned way with titanium and graphene. This one doesn't. See, this older design was great for what it did, but without access to the rare materials, we were forced to build a whole bunch of these quantum chemical plants to produce graphene. We were also forced to put in a bunch of titanium here so that we could run the carbon nanotube production facilities. This resulted in a bunch of waste hydrogen being introduced into the build, and we put in a whole bunch of thermal power plants to get rid of it. Messy and all that, but it did its job. This produced about 1,900 and change proliferate per minute in profit. Yeah, 1,924 proliferate per minute, and it was quite compact, 80 by 80 block. This is actually a 50 block, as in this thing only takes up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. In fact, we got a little bit of change on the end here. See this area down here? That's all free space. Might even be able to... You know what? No, we'll worry about that in a minute. And this one produces even more proliferate than the last design. Checking my notes, it's 2,400 proliferate per minute in a smaller form factor. And it just looks pretty. Question is whether or not it'll actually run. So we should probably turn this on and see. We'll turn it on, we'll tell everyone to go. And the great thing is this only requires one tower. Because there's such a limited amount of ingredients that go into it. Actually just... Yeah, tiny. One tower. And I've put in a little bit of, pre-built battlefield analysis stations. This way, when we start placing them down, the things can build themselves. We can just start chucking them down, and so long as we have the materials, they'll just automatically build behind us. And I've even stuck a power supply up here on top. This thing's running on its own power grid for now, and, you know what? We'll let it fill up and see what happens. There we go. The proliferate is starting to flow. Now, as the proliferate exits here, I forgot to proliferate the proliferate. Oh, wait, no, we're proliferating the proliferate. That's the first thing we do. The proliferate comes down here. We just use a file sorter, pulls it off, and sticks it back onto the line here to proliferate all of our ingredients. Then we have a second one over here to proliferate the last line, which is these stalagmite crystals. This whole setup, I kind of had to... I was trying to squeeze it in as much as possible, which is why this actually runs off this one line here that zigzags all the way through the build. It works, and it's reasonably pretty, and everything seems to fit. We did, of course, have to go out of line with our usual build of, what do you call them, the spray coaters, but I figured this looks just about right. Oh, and if you're wondering why the floor is a weird color, someone pointed out that I was using the default foundation color. I had no idea there was more than one foundation color to choose from. So obviously I went with green. Irish people, we're not exactly the most patriotic people in the world, but if we have to choose a color for like something like this, we're just going to go with green. It's just how it is. There's always going to be something you miss. All right. Anything else we're missing? You know what? There probably is. We're just going to let this run for a bit. I want to make sure this is stable and that it does its job. According to this, it should have a max, 4,600... Oh, wait. I got to delete this old one. This old one is adding to the confusion of the software. Doesn't know what this is doing. It doesn't realize that it's not connected or on. You see, this reference number down here is how much total Proliferate Mark III we should, in theory, get if all the machines we had were active. Yeah, we had a few machines here that weren't going to be active. They were just there for sample purposes. All right, how are we looking? Now, the one thing that worries me is basically yellow. The reason being is this is supposed to fill a full transport belt to 4 stacks. It's supposed to quad stack a transport belt, meaning this should just be stacked to the gills all the time. And if we check, it is. It's quad stack. Things I'd be worried this thing would back up. So far, I think we might have a winner. Huh. Kinda shocked. Oh, I did say this produces 2,405 proliferate per minute, and you'll see the 2,813. That's actually how much it'll produce, but it consumes 407.5 proliferate in its own production. So we're not including that in the production rates because that'd just get confusing. We just want the output. If we cover an entire planet, as in every 50 tiles, we can put down one of these. If you check over here, let's say, yeah, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And even with that massive gap on the end, which I probably won't leave, but let's say we did leave that gap there and we just put one of these down every 50 tiles, that would work out at about 96,000 proliferate per planet. So, you know, we could probably get away with just covering 2 planets, even if we avoid all the resource patches, which we will have to do. For example, I am not going to be paving over the stalagmite crystals over here so I can put down a build. There's plenty of places where I'll have to avoid an area, like there'll be oil patches, things like that. But in general, we should probably get about 60,000 a planet, so 2 planets should produce us all the proliferate we need, depending on how good they are, of course. This one would be prime real estate on the grounds it's got all the stalagmite crystals. How are you looking? Yeah, you're doing good. Production rate. Oh, it is like hovering there, and like it's pretty much maxed. Like, I'd really love to run it for a longer period of time. But I don't think anyone's going to be drawing down supply from this anytime soon. Which means long before it stabilizes at the 10-minute mark for readings, this will be full. I suppose we could just destroy some proliferate to see. Considering how much we're going to need in the future, yeah, I suppose we could destroy some proliferate. It's not a big deal. We're just about coming up at the 10-minute mark. All seems good. I might actually just destroy a little bit more proliferate just to make sure we make it. I'll cover oil wells, which... that's a lot of oil. 7,969.3 oil per minute. Pretty sure that thing is quad stacked. Yep. According to this, output drops by half after 208 hours. Our refining, or our mining efficiency is now up to... we have an ore loss of 0.62% and a mining speed bonus of 920%. And items from debris is now up to 428%. Yeah, we're probably never going to run out of resources. Well, I mean, theoretically, you could if you ran it long enough. If you stopped researching all of the efficiency upgrades. But I think as long as you keep doing the efficiency upgrades, in theory, you should never run out. Well, that's what I heard. Our 10-minute average just hit the 2,813. Maybe we're off by 1 somewhere, but seems perfect to me. Close enough that I think we could just start stamping this down. I think it's time we covered this planet. As you can see, it's all sorts of wonky because... well, I wasn't very organized in my laying of foundations at the start, but now it's all the way around the planet. A nice, perfect belt. There's a bunch of resources that have been tapped into that are going to interfere, like that oil well, that one over there. But we can work around this as best we can. We definitely have a lot of space left over still. Let's see how much of this we can cram in. One thing I thought we might have a look at as well is what it looks like when you have a lot, and I mean a lot, of upgrades into your drones and your production tech. If we hit enter here, and we start placing this out, now bearing in mind we're at about 36, not FPS, but UPS for actual production, but you can see the drones are still going rather quickly about the place getting this done. And the battlefield analysis stations will come online and help out as well. All of those drones pluses, all the drone speed, all of that stuff just makes... yeah, done. That's one of them down. And then we can move on to the next one. That's the planet mostly covered. That was actually relatively painless to do. I suppose because it's quite small and our upgrades are so high that we really just churn the stuff out. But we fit 18 on the top half, 19 on the bottom half. That's about 88,987 proliferate per minute. That is our potential. It's not going to quite get us to the 80,000 science per minute we want, but combined with our other proliferate planet, that should be fine. I mean, I would like to put down some more, actually, now that I think about it. We've got a nearby planet, right? Yeah, we've got a few more in here. We can put down enough to get us over the line. The sky looks so pretty. It's just covered in nothing but ships going to hyperspace. Perfect. Oh, I never set up mining on this planet. Give me 1 minute there. Okay, so maybe not 1 minute? I got a little distracted. And then I covered the entire planet. I mean, well, we got the mining down, and then I put down the build, but then there's like another planet in the system. I'm like, okay, that's 36 proliferate builds on this planet. And then I thought, well, I'll put mining on the other planet, which we did. Where is it? That one over there. Then we got another... we managed to cram another 21 builds on that planet. So, well, it's just when I was doing it, I thought, why not make enough proliferate so we never have to come back and do this proliferate stuff again? So I labeled each one after the amount of proliferate it was going to produce, but that was too complicated, so instead I just labeled after the amount of builds we put on each planet. And then I called the entire system the amount of proliferate it produces. This is actually really handy. Because now I can just look at the system and go, oh, this produces 202,020 proliferate. So I'm covered for proliferate needs for the future. I was going to stop at 130,000, which is all we need for 100,000 science. But then I'm like, well, what about antimatter production? Antimatter production is going to need proliferate. I don't know how much it's going to need. I don't want to calculate that. So I just, we'll top it up to 200,000. We'll be fine. We'll never have to worry about that again. Of course, when I did that, I also had to put mining on both of these sectors. So I had to go in there, chuck down all the mines, get them set up. Then I went back and relabeled the science section, and then I went to Proliferator Prime over here. This is where we were getting our proliferate from, and we didn't need it anymore. I've basically shut off all the proliferate production there. No more proliferate is being produced there. This is effectively just a mining sector from now on. It does nothing else but we draw raw resources out of there. And then we went back to the antimatter system. 1 second. We filled this system to the brim with antimatter fuel rod production. 8,120 antimatter fuel rods per minute. Then I did the numbers on this, and then we're going to need twice as much. This is only going to produce us 1 point something terawatts. We're going to need at least 2 terawatts to power 100,000 science per minute. So, but I still haven't made any science today. My science production is still exactly where we left it. So if we check the entire star cluster, we're still at 1,350, and I need to get at least 20,000 science today. So I'm not going to finish this off, but I am going to do a tiny bit of prep work. You see, getting the resources over here, we have to import them from somewhere else, and I thought, well, let's just do what I've been doing before. Let's find a close-by planet and turn it into a mall. It should be fairly handy. Wait, is that lava? Ocean type, none. Perfect. Let's go. So this here is the mall we have been using, well, for a little bit. Ooh. Did I accidentally hit the button already? Oh my god, I hit the button already, and never mind. It turns out there was plenty of open space there. Now, I've done some minor modifications to the mall. Nothing too major. Oh, I forgot to add in logistics towers. That was sloppy on my part. But the whole point of this mall is that it now produces ammunition and a few other things, and I'm probably going to need to put down a power supply as well to keep this whole thing running. But before we can complete it out, there's a couple of resources we're going to need to bring down. There's a bunch of things in here we'll definitely be able to deploy, but there's a few we won't. Basically, we're not going to have access to enough transport belt. That's going to have to come from further afield. But everything else we should either have on us or we can import. That build is unfortunately eating through the power supply on this planet, and I should have built in a little bit more beforehand. But that's okay. We have a blueprint for that as well. That's sort of the joy of this. There's so many blueprints you can get, and all of them make your life just that much simpler. So we'll put you right about there. Wait, what's blocking you? Ugh, damn it, I'm too close to this. 1 second, we're going to have to find a slightly different location. This here is my above the equator power patch. I put it down when you need, a lot of power. Usually 2 of these will cover pretty much everything I'll ever need on a planet. Sometimes 3 if it's incredibly power hungry. And it's very quick to put down, and it all runs off 1 logistics tower. It's even set to... Oh, no, you need to be put down to 1. We don't need that much coming out of you. I should really redo that blueprint. But, alright, we'll just finish this out. That should make sure we have enough power for the build, and then we can finish off the mall real quick. I think that seems like enough power. But the irony to this is that I'm putting in this entire power supply so that we can build a mall to build more power production to feed into our power supplies. No, that seems actually completely normal now that I think about it. This is just how this game goes. Now what we can do though is we can start putting down some additional buildings to help out with the construction so we can get this done hopefully a little bit faster. This is so much faster when you have this much tech behind you. I mean, there's a few bits over there that are still going to need to be done. There are a lot of taller transport belt sections. But by and large, we've got most of the guts started on it, and now it can start filling up. We want to get this in now, so that while this is backfilling, it's going to take about an hour to fill up. But while it's backfilling, we can go off and start putting in some more science. And then when we come back, it'll be full to the brim. It'll just make putting in all of the new power builds in here, the antimatter production in this system, just a lot faster. We'll have a close-by place to grab resources if we need it. The only thing we're missing from this to end it is the little boxes. I don't usually carry them around with me, or I carry a very small amount. So I think what we'll do is... Oh, actually, wait, never mind. I do have a bunch on me. How many we need? 39? Give me that many. And then we're also going to need a bunch of the little spinny top logistics things. Yeah, we can grab a bunch of those. And we should hopefully have enough logistic bots on us to fill these up. Oh, yeah, we're eating through the logistic bots at a rate, but that is fine. Yeah, the moment we get in range, they're getting plopped down. I think what I'd like to do is top up on logistics bots. The worst thing is if you fill up all of these, or you put the tops on all of these, and you didn't have enough logistics bots to fill them, then you have to go around and click on each one of them individually to put all the logistics bots in them. I'd prefer to automate this process if at all possible. Let's maybe top up on a few logistics bots before we keep moving. It's working out. I can see them over here going down, and we've definitely got... we got enough left, I think. Yeah, there was a reason I kept all of those on me. Like, let's just grab a few more to be 100% safe. This little storage section over here where you can just store stuff, well, that's kind of your logistics draw pool. So handy. Absolutely ridiculously handy. Now, I have made a few minor changes to this build. It's an excellent build. Thanks again for the blueprint. Absolute lifesaver. But one of the changes I made is over here for transport belt. This is a transport belt storage or an intermediate storage thing. Basically what happens is any transport belt that is produced is immediately sucked in by these sorters. The pile sorters pull it in this side, and then they output it the other side. Well, okay. They input it here, and then output it the other side, and when there's a backup, as in the logistics tower is full, and I set the logistics tower to max. It wasn't originally set to that. So once the logistics tower is full, it starts filling these extra crates, and then when we eat through the backlog, it spits out a bunch, because sometimes you just draw down a lot of transport belt really quickly, and you want it to be replaced. But I suppose we've got 3 malls now, less of an issue. And then one of the other changes I made was over here to ammunition. This produces both types of ammunition. Fair dues, I never bothered. But this plasma ammunition is the most common one. It does everything you need, and you generally don't need the higher end stuff. The higher end stuff requires antimatter, a little bit more difficult to get your hands on generally. But the plasma stuff wasn't getting proliferated, and it wasn't being stored. So instead, put it in a storage location for it here. I ripped out whatever it was because it was, whatever it was, it wasn't really that important. Now you can max out on the amount of plasma capsules, and you can max out on the amount of antimatter capsules, and both of them get proliferated right here before getting fed into the tower, so that the stuff is proliferated and ready to go no matter where you draw it to. Or even if you just get some to stick into your mech, because I use nothing but proliferated antimatter capsules now. I hung around for a bit just to get these out, the energy exchangers. They're required for building some of the towers. I just grabbed some of the raw resources to put into it for the processors. That's the only thing that was short. Once we grabbed out 3 of those, that's it. There's nothing left to build. This whole thing is finished. Takes a while to spin up, but oh, and this produces everything. Literally everything, all the way down to the really high-end stuff. As in, on the end here, there's tacked on all the energy shards, all that stuff. So we're good for literally everything we need in this particular corner of the galaxy. And with 3 malls up and running, we probably won't need a 4th. But never say never. Anyway, with that completed, let's maybe grab a little bit more science before we finish out the day. Already spent far too long on this, but we've got, what, 1,350 science there. Why does that say 6,300? That's not right. Oh, I think I know what's going on over here. Gas giants take on the name of the core planet, so let's just make you gas giant. Yeah, there we go, perfect. Yeah, so that's the gas giant, which means, yeah, that's 7,200 science, that's 630 science for a total of 1,350. So, remote mall is on that planet. I say we head to this one, and we get ourselves another 6,000 or 7,000 science. To start us off, 450 science and 1 power block. Also, over here, we have set up a call down for a bunch of resources we're going to need a lot of, and that is just a case of, well, spamming them out. I want to hit like we're at 10,000, we're 13,000 science. I want to get to 20,000 science of these today. There was a bunch of stuff I did in the background. I probably spent way too long on it, but the only things left we have to build is the science. Wait, actually, no, there's 3 things left we have to build. The science, double up our antimatter fuel rod production, and we have to build a second Hellraiser planet. The one that, with all the graviton lenses and the dishes and all that stuff. And that's it. It's just science, graviton lens planet, and one or 2 more planets of antimatter fuel rod production, and we're done. We're like, I can see the end from here. We managed to squeeze on 12 builds. That iron vein thing, I probably could... no, I'm not ripping it out. It's fine. This is generating an extra 5,400 science. Combine that with everything else, and this entire system is now generating... well, will generate 19,000 science per minute. Think we can squeeze on just a little bit more. I want 20,000 science per minute to finish this out on, because we started at over 10, And I really wanted to get to 50, but that's not happening today. I'm way, way, way too far behind. But I think we could easily... Well, we'll definitely top 50 next go, but if we can get 100,000 or not by the end of next episode, I'm not sure. But just let me pop over to Remote Mall here real quick. All we got to do is squeeze in like maybe 4 or 5 science builds. We'll be well over the 10,000, and then we won't even have to wait very long, and we should get the rest of it down, and we'll be, well, we'll get over the 10,000 at least on the stats. I want to get it for 10 minutes of over 10,000 or 20,000 science per minute. A quick, a dirty 6 more malls. That's an extra 2,700 science per minute. Even though they haven't all spun up yet, we finally went above the 20,000 we were aiming for. So 21,600 science per minute right now. That should continue to rise. Excellent. That means we'll max out at about, where is it? 21,700. Actually, not much more left to rise after all. Damn, that went well. Now, I know we didn't get a lot of science done today. I mean, okay, that's... I think in my first playthrough, I only got like 2,000 or 3,000 science per minute. Didn't have any proliferate or anything like that. So, okay, we've done... Compared to my first playthrough, which, okay, was quite early days in the game, we've done a lot of science. For the late game, not so much. That's only an extra 7,000 science or so we've added on. Next time, we'll have a lot more leeway. Though, I think I might want to double down on the antimatter and that stuff first. It's just once I start on producing the science, I just don't want to stop. Also, that is a very busy universe right now. Like if you zoom in a little bit closer where you get into where the ships look like they're moving at speed, it just looks like there's constantly traffic coming to and fro, which is exactly what you want. All right. So next up, we're going to need about, it says about 2.1 terawatts of antimatter power production, but I'm thinking we'll do about 3, just so that we can make sure we can do the proliferate and we can do the lenses as well. You need a little bit of spare power, just in case. We'll also have to go back to Big Blue and set up another planet with just Dyson dishes. And once that's done, it should just be a case of plopping down like a lot of science builds. I've kind of got it down to a bit of a T in terms of like, it's got those little towers built into them. So the battlefield analysis stations just makes this so much faster. It's actually more just move in, plop down, next. But the goal has been set, 100k, and I think we got the frames to do it. Okay, we're a little bit chuggish, but I think we can make it before anything explodes. Anyway, I'm going to cut this out here. I hope you enjoyed it. Good luck.